Hello, students. We are continuing with our fifth module, that is Practice Imaginative Sympathy in Contributor Personality Development Program. And in this module, we have reached almost to the end of the all the units that we have been studying. So, in the last unit, we are just recalling everything that we had done along with the good examples that we have with us. So, there are three things that we must keep in mind while practicing imaginative sympathy. The first one is visualize an unknown person's situation. Second, map what are the human consequences of the actions or the decisions or the projects that you are taking. Third, map the invisible needs of people. There are many things that people won't show you, won't tell you, but you need to find them. So, these are the three things that we need, or three skills that we need to practice for having imaginative sympathy. We had already revised the first one of visualizing an unknown person situation. I asked you to fill these two gaps, and I hope that you might have done this. Moving ahead to the second practice, second skill, that is map the human consequences of any action or decision or project. Let us see the example that has been given over here. You need to have a very keen attention in understanding this entire project that was undertaken at a place that is known as Kusmunda, okay, which is in India itself, and it is known as India's largest coal mines. Suppose you read this story in a news article about a local mine expansion project. Now, what does it mean? That there is a coal mine, जिसको कोयले की खान कहते हैं. So there is an area which is undergoing this coal production system, and they want to expand their land, they want to expand their business. What are they doing to get this thing done? This is what we are going to see over here in this practice exercise 2. See, coal is an important part of India's economic growth story. Okay, we know this thing very well, how much important coal has been during the ancient time till present day for development of any country. Two-thirds of India's electricity is generated by coal. Undoubtedly, we need coal to generate electricity. To meet the energy needs, the Indian government aims to increase its output to 1 billion tons annually by 2020. Okay, so that was the target of Indian government. What was the target? That just because the usage of coal is increasing day by day, we are going to increase its production by to what? 1 billion tons annually by the year 2020. And how they are going to do it? They are going to increase the production in existing mines. Okay, there are already coal mines available in our country. There are many areas in our country which are completely dedicated for the coal mine industry, and they want to expand this coal mine industry, or maybe they want to increase the production in this coal mine industry. It is not easy to produce a coal or to expand the quantity of coal just by using the given area. You need to expand it if you want to produce more. So one such mine is Kusmunda, one of India's largest coal mines, covering 2,382 hectares of land, where in Chhattisgarh, known for its rich coal deposits. Okay, so we can imagine how much expanded it will be in land area by being 2382 hectares. The mine capacity was to be doubled from 10 million tons per annum (MTPA) in 2009 to 26 MTPA in 2016. Here there is some error in the measurement. It is MTPA, that is million tons per annum. Okay, so what was the production in 2009? It was 10 MTPA, and by 2016 they wanted 26 MPTA. So this is what the target was. So this was to be done by acquiring surrounding land, both forest and agriculture. Okay, so there was a solution. You can produce from 10 MTPA to 26 MTPA, not a big deal. But for that, you have to do one thing, and that is you need more land. And more land means taking the surrounding area's land. And surrounding area consists of what? It consists of forest land, and it also consists of agricultural land. So what happened as a result of it? Just have a look. 3,600 people, 3,600 people from five villages are to be displaced during phase one. Okay, So the land would be acquired in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, 3,600 villagers have to leave their land, comprising of 5 villages. These 3,600 villagers have to leave their land, dislocate themselves to some other place. And in the same way, in the phase 2, the amount of people, the number of people was going to be increased. That was 13,000 people from 5 villages have to dislocate themselves. Why? Just because the coal expansion was the need of an hour. What happened as a result of it? Let us have a look. Now, instead of just reading through and moving on to the next news article, because in the beginning it was saying, supposedly this was the news and you read this thing in the newspaper, but you are just reading a news like an everyday reader. You read, take the newspaper, you read what all things are going on around us, and you just move on to next article. But stop over there. Think about this news deeply and think about those people who are connected with this entire expansion. Let us have a deep look at this news article from imaginative sympathy point of view. News story part 1. The manner in which information of the project is communicated to the villagers. There are three things we are going to see. There are three parts of this story. First is, were these villagers informed about the expansion? Were they informed beforehand about dislocating their place and going somewhere else? Second is, new story part 2. The manner in which the people were compensated. Supposingly, people came to know that now that this land is going into the hands of the government. In return, obviously, they will be getting compensation. Now, what is the manner or what is the way in which they are going to get compensation? If the place where they were living, it was their own land, own agricultural land, were they be given a new agricultural land at some other place? Will they be given some money as per the amount or as per the price of the land that they have given to the government, or were they be given employment in this coal mine industries? So what were the different ways or manners in which these people were compensated by giving their land? New story part 3. How the mine construction and the operations took place. Fine. The villagers came to know about the giving away of the land. Villagers were given compensation. Now, after all these things were done, how was project executed? How the production took place, or how the area was affected just because of the production of coal? So these are the 3 points that we must consider before moving ahead to the next article in the newspaper that we read. By what? By practicing imaginative sympathy. Let us see news story part 1, how people were communicated about this. The manner in which information of the project is communicated. What is the law? The law says that if any such kind of uh, decision that you are making or any such kind of legal actions are to be taken, the people of the land had to be informed. And what is the method of informing them? That the company has to pass a written notice in a newspaper. Local newspaper will also do, and they have to call these people for public hearing. Why? In this article that they are going to put, or a notice that they are going to put in the newspaper, it will be written inside that we are going to expand our coal industry in this area, and in this area whoever people are living, they will be given compensation, or they are the people who have to shift to other place. Anyone who has objection with this kind of decision that is going to be taken should come and informing the court, or should come and oppose this decision. And then they are given certain amount of time, like 2 months or 3 months. In 3 months or till this date, if anyone is having any objection regarding this kind of issue that we are taking this land, should come and talk to us or should inform the court. But these people, they are illiterate. They don't know that such kind of things are going on in the newspaper. So they are unaware of all the things that are taking place behind their back. But then these people, some of them, came to know about such kind of wrong things that are being done with them, and that how? That through the word of mouth. Someone in the city might have talked about it. Someone who went to the city from the village might have heard about it. He came to the village, so one by one people started knowing that this is something that was going on in the government. Such kind of decision was to be taken. So most of them got to know their land was to be acquired only through the word of mouth. Word of mouth means just by listening to people when they talk about such issue. So even if these people have opposed it, the hearing was to be conducted. So the court was waiting if anyone is coming to take a charge, if anyone is coming to oppose this thing. So they have also passed the notice by saying we have a hearing on this particular day to decide who will be given the land. So the hearing was conducted several kilometers away from the affected villages. So people found it difficult to attend. These people were not having any legal advisor in their village. So what was left at the end, that they sat at their places. They were inside their house. They were not knowing what was going out, and the court was quite far away from their village. So it was not possible, and these people were afraid. They don't know what to talk in the court, how they're going to manage these things, what they have to speak over there. So they just kept themselves inside their house, and they did not attend what was going on. That is a hearing in the court. People felt that the public hearings were conducted as a mere bureaucratic requirement. See, this is what the villagers thought, that these hearings were just for the sake of it, so that the bureaucratic, the such kind of government officials, no, they have to do such kind of formality. They are not going to have any genuine attempt to hear their concerns. These villagers knew very well. Even if we went over there to the court and we will put our point of view or we will defend ourselves, still these bureaucrats are only going to listen to the high profile people. They are not going to listen to us. They are not worried about the concerns that we have. So there is no use of going over there. The officials were brief and vague in explaining the project's impact on the people. See, this line is or this sentence is very, very important. The official had to explain about their project and what will be the effect of this project on the people who are living nearby or who are living in that agriculture land. They have to explain it, but these officials gave what kind of explanation? Very brief, in short. They explained that we are going to, start the expansion of coal mines, we need these places, we will give compensation, and this is the way we are going to implement our project. So it was very vague also. Vague means very unclear. So they were not clear, and in short means very briefly, they told about how this entire project is going to work and what will be the effect of this project on the people. And this way the thing went. Let's read this thing which you have to keep in mind. As per the protocol and law, the company communicated the information through an advertisement. The company is correct. The company is not wrong. They had followed the law. They have followed the protocol. Whatever rules they have to follow, they had done that. Okay, they have passed the information through advertisement and a public hearing. Okay, there used to be a public hearing. If anyone who wants to defend can come. So public hearing was there, and advertisement also, the notice was also given into the newspaper. So they had done this thing in bracket, part of the coal project execution plan. So when this entire plan was made, they said we have to follow this protocol. So as per the project plan, they had followed the protocol, they have followed the legal procedures. But what about the way in which the people received the information? Company is correct by following the laws, the legal system, but were these people in the village able to understand this legal procedure? How did they come to know about what is going to happen? How did they receive the information? They did not receive the information through the way or through the method in which they were given the notice. They did not read it from the newspaper. They did not get it from any government official or a legal officer. They came to know about this thing only through the word of mouth. So the company people are right, they are working as per the rules, but people are not getting their information. So this is the first thing or the first part of the story that we must consider. Let us see the second part of the story, and that is how or what was the manner in which people were compensated. Now it was done that these people have to give their land. They have to give their fields, their agricultural land and everything. But then they have to get, they need to get compensation. So how was the compensation given? See, example. A village head and a proud farmer, as you can see. He was the head of the village. Which village? There were five villages in the first phase and five villages in the second phase. So in one of those 10 villages, there was one village head, Sarpanch we call them, and he was also a proud farmer. He had how many acres of land? 14 acres. And then he was given the job of picking teacups in the mining company. Now, this is the kind of compensation one gives to someone who is the village head? Of course not. That person lived with so much of pride, so much of respect in front of people who were in the village, the villagers. And now, what is he doing? He's working in the company, this coal mining industry. And what work is he doing? You can see from the picture. He's taking the cups, teacups. He's giving tea to the people over there. He is gathering cups and he's like working like a scavenger. So this is what he has been given. This is not the compensation that he deserved, because he was the owner of 14 acres of land, which is not a small thing. Next, those with small land holding size were not eligible for jobs. Now, there were other people who had 2 acres of land, 3 acres of land, 1 acre of land. Now, these people were not that much intelligent, so they did not deserve to work in the industry, okay, in the company. So, what happened? The compensation money was given to them, and this money lasted only for some time. Their land, you can imagine, gave them an earning of, for example, 50,000 rupees annually, because they were in village, they were happy with 50,000 rupees. Just for an example, they were given 50,000 rupees yearly, but every year they used to get 50,000 rupees profit from the land that they have. Apart from that, they were the owner of those lands. But now, if they were given only 75,000 or 1 lakh rupees as a compensation, this will last only for a year and a half. What will they do after that? And what about the land that they were having? The owner of the land, now they are not owner of any kind of land. They were not given land in compensation of land. In exchange of land, they were not given land. They were just given compensation or job in the industry. Though rehabilitated, means shifted from one place to another, people did not own the new land given to them. So they couldn't buy, sell, or use it. See, they were not given land in place of land. So they cannot buy any other land. They cannot sell the land in which they were living. They cannot use it because they were not given any kind of permission. Come on, we have taken 10 acres of your land, but here we are giving you 4 acres of land. No, you are just given place to put your bamboo and tambu, and you have to sit over there and you have to live your life over there like a nomadic. So they cannot even use it as a collateral to buy any other land. Okay, the land which was given to them or the house that was given to them, they cannot even mortgage it or use it as a collateral to get some loan from the bank, because now they have no property at all. So they had no life security. So what is this farmer saying? We do not know trade or business. Yes, they have done farming only in their entire life. They don't know how to become a trader, how to start any kind of business. We only know how to live with the land. We take care of the land and it takes care of us. This is the story of every farmer. The land takes care of the farmer and farmer takes care of the land. Before, if we needed to send our children to college or get them married, we could sell a piece of our land. Yes, they were dependent on the land in terms of any kind of problems they will face in the future, of in case there are any emergencies. They had this thing in their mind, they had this kind of safety in their mind that, come on, if anything would happen, at least I have my own land in terms of emergency. If anyone was not well in the house, or if I want to get my daughter or son married, if I want to send my children for studying in city, or I want to go make them study for further education. But now they have nothing in emergency. See, what do we do in case of an emergency? What they are supposed to do if anything happens and they are suddenly in need of money? First, they had land, they could sell it and get the money, but now they have nothing. So, see the major point. As per the protocol and law, the company provided compensation. कंपनी का काम क्या है? उन लोगों को इन्फॉर्म कर दिया है लीगल नोटिस के। कंपनी का काम क्या है कि लैंड लिया है तो आपको उसके और में कोई ना कोई कंपेंसेशन दे देंगे। कंपेंसेशन दे दिया है, दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ कोल प्रोजेक्ट एग्जीक्यूशन प्लान। हमने पहले से प्लान करके रखा कि कंपेंसेशन देंगे, कंपेंसेशन इज गिवन। हाउएवर, व्हाट अबाउट द वे इन विलेजर्स वर कंपेंसेटेड? कोई बोलेगा हाँ कंपेंसेशन दिया है, पर कोई देखने गया है कंपेंसेशन कैसा दिया है और क्या दिया है? सो दैट इज अनदर इश्यू। थर्ड, हाउ द माइन कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑपरेशन टुक प्लेस। ठीक है, लैंड मिल गया, कंपेंसेशन दे दिया, द विलेजर्स हैव लेफ्ट, दे हैव गॉन टू नियर बाय लैंड एंड एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग फाइन। नाउ द वर्क ऑफ कोल प्रोडक्शन बिगिंस। The forest land used by the villagers for grazing cattle, collecting fuel, forest product, cultural activities was totally cleared out. Just imagine losing the forest. In the current scenario where we are so much dying for oxygen, the forests were cleared. Now these forests were used by the villagers to take their cattle for grazing, no, for fuel, like no cutting the branches of the tree and using as a fuel. Some forest products we can say, no, using timber or using gum, using resins, using fruits, and also the cultural activities where they gathered and they used to enjoy it during harvesting time or something. Now these forests were gone, so the communities were destroyed because forests were the way of life. The place which was green is now black with dust because coal was being produced over there. What can you expect? The area which was thriving with greenery was covered with black dust that was of coal. The company expanded the area of mining. Okay, project में क्या decide किया था goal of the project? एरिया एक्सपांड करना है. एरिया एक्सपेंड हो गया है, माइनिंग चालू है. However, how did the operations take place? काम कैसे हुआ? On the ground, what did it result in? Okay, the operation took place means the project is continuing, it is under construction, it is going on. But what is happening as a result of it? What is happening to the land which is being used? What is happening to the nearby places? So that is a big question. Okay, so here we come to this exercise. You have to write over here human consequences of the way in which this project was implemented on the lives of the people displayed. You have to put yourself into the shoes of those people who were the villagers of this land which was taken up by the companies producing coal. So, what were the human consequences that they faced or that were avoided by the company? And supposingly you were the project engineer, how you are going to solve these human consequences? So, this will be the part of your homework. Moving ahead, the last one, map the invisible needs of people beyond their visible needs. This is also what we had seen. There are many things which are not visible to us, but we have to see them. Look at the example. There is a team who is working on making a food delivery app, like you have Zomato or Swiggy. So there is a company who is working, on making such kind of food delivery app. So they are thinking that, like, decide to talk some of the potential users of the app to understand their needs. Whenever we want to make an application, we need to see what are the uses of those application or what are the requirements or needs of people. So some of the people were called and they were consulted that if there is a food delivery app, what are the things that you will look for into their app. So some said that they wanted some basic information like menus, price, ratings, reviews, and users should be able to explore restaurant, food outlets near them based on location, type of food, and they need a way to make payment online. No, we also want to make payment online. They also need to be able to track their order, that if they have ordered pizza at 7:30 p.m. and if it reaches by 8:15 p.m., they should have a look where their pizza has reached. So this way, these are some facilities that we want. Now, if I am the member of a team who is making this food delivery app, I am not going to completely depend only on those 5 or 6 people whom I have called to have a survey and know what are the needs and desire of people who want to use food delivery app, because that will be the point of view and that will be the requirement of those 4 or 5 people to whom I have consulted. But I have to think about millions of people who are going to use those application or that particular application of mine, and these 5 people cannot do justice to those all to all those million people. So in spite of taking review from these 4 or 5 people, he has to think beyond that. He has to sit and he has to find out something that was not said by these 4 or 5 people, and that could be the need of other people who are not called for the survey. What about the taste of those million people? So here is your work that you have to find out that what are the other things that will be required in a food delivery app. But some list is given over here, that invisible need could be that many are hesitant. What about ordering from a place that we don't know? Like, for example, currently there is lockdown, and before lockdown, there were like 20 restaurants or fast food outlets from where you have had your food, your the dinner or lunch. But now when you look at the food delivery app, you can see like 35 restaurants or fast food outlets available in your city. Now there are 15 which you have never tried. So what you are going to do? You will be hesitant to order from those places where you have not visited before. Then many people are also worried about digital payments. They are not that much comfortable in providing e-payment. So what about them? And there are so many options sometimes available that people get confused. So what about those? So there are many issues that people are going to think about. So at the end, what we learn from here, that imaginative sympathy is a powerful practice, and it allows us to do what? Become more user centric. Like this engineer who is thinking that I am able to build products, technologies only not after understanding functional value of those things, but I have to understand the needs of people. And there is an official who is making policies, but he is keeping the people and the benefit in his mind, so he is becoming more human centered. And if you practice imaginative sympathy, it will also make you more empathetic, and you will be able to understand people and their needs better. And at the end, you become sensitive to issues, concerns, aspirations, and goals of other people, also not only of yourself. Like, even if I don't know the other person, but I must know what he might be going through. So practicing imaginative sympathy will open up a new dimension of your personality. I hope at the end of this beautiful module, you are going to have that sympathetic heart inside you, but it should be combination of brain and heart all together. As you can see, there were heart over here. In the same way, you too will be thinking from heart, and you will consider the needs of other people also before making any kind of decision or speaking about other person without knowing what that person has gone through. So this is the end of the module, and study well. Take care. Bye.